A forgotten legend, a fearless child, and a world filled with danger. Today, we're looking at how an unlikely friendship helps awaken the spirit of a hero who has been lost for centuries. There is probably no one who hasn't heard of this legendary character. Originating from Chinese mythology and the classic novel Journey to the West, the Monkey King is known as one of the most powerful and rebellious heroes ever created. With incredible strength, magical abilities, and a fearless personality, he challenged powerful enemies, defied the heavens, and became a symbol of freedom and courage. Over the years, countless movies, TV series, and animations have retold his story in different ways. Today, we're looking at one of the most popular versions of that legend, Monkey King. Hero is back. This film tells the story of a forgotten hero, a brave young boy, and an adventure that proves that true heroes are not defined by power alone, but by the choices they make when others need them the most. So without further ado, let's begin. This world is far too harsh for ordinary people. It is filled with demons that kidnap children, forcing countless families to flee in search of a safer place. The story begins with a group of travelers trying to escape from these terrifying creatures, only to be attacked along the way. Among them is a young boy named Zhang Luer, who lives with an old monk named Fa Ming. One day, the village alarm suddenly sounds. At the same time, a group of green demons known as Yakshas arrives to capture children. The village warriors do everything they can to fight back, but the gap in strength between humans and demons is simply too great. For those unfamiliar with Yakshas, they are mythical beings that appear in Indian, Chinese, and Buddhist legends. They are often described as guardians of forests, mountains, and hidden treasures, possessing tremendous strength and terrifying appearances. However, in this movie, they are little more than disposable servants working under the main villain. Returning to the story, while the warriors battle against the demons, the villagers desperately run for safety. During the chaos, Zhang Luer and the monk Fa Ming manage to rescue a little girl named Chang'er, and the three of them flee together. However, amidst the confusion and panic, Zhang Luer becomes separated from Fa Ming. Fa Ming desperately calls out for the boy, but his voice is drowned out by the screams of the crowd. For the first time in his life, Zhang Luer finds himself completely alone in a dangerous world filled with monsters. What he doesn't realize is that this terrifying moment is about to lead him toward the greatest adventure of his life. While trying to escape from the pursuing demons, Zhang Luer eventually stumbles upon a mysterious cave hidden deep within the mountains. Inside the cave, Zhang Luer discovers something he never expected to find. Trapped deep within the mountain is none other than the legendary Monkey King, Sun Wukong, who has been sealed away for centuries. While desperately trying to escape from danger, Zhang Luer accidentally breaks the seal, setting the Monkey King free. After being imprisoned for 500 years, Sun Wukong finally regains his freedom. However, things are not exactly as people imagined. The Monkey King, who once possessed enough power to challenge the heavens themselves, has lost most of his abilities. Because of a magical seal locked around his wrist, he can no longer access his true power. Although he has escaped from his prison, he is still far from truly free. The legendary warrior who once shook the world is now struggling to reclaim the strength he once possessed. Meanwhile, Zhang Luer is absolutely thrilled to meet his childhood hero. In his eyes, Sun Wukong is still the incredible warrior from the ancient legends. But for the Monkey King, the boy's excitement quickly becomes a headache. Zhang Luer constantly follows him around, asking questions and talking non-stop wherever they go. No matter where they went or what they were doing, Zhang Luer continued following Sun Wukong everywhere. Whether they were walking, talking, or simply taking a break, the boy never seemed to leave the Monkey King's side. Although Sun Wukong was clearly annoyed by the constant attention, Zhang Luer acted as if nothing was wrong and kept talking non-stop. One was a legendary warrior who simply wanted his freedom, while the other was an endlessly talkative child. Because of their completely different personalities, the story is filled with many funny and entertaining moments. However, those light-hearted moments slowly help strengthen the bond between Zhang Luer and the Monkey King. As they continued their journey, they eventually encountered a strange man. At first glance, he looked like an ordinary traveler, but in reality, he was far from human. He was actually a pig demon disguised as a man, and he was none other than Zhu Beiji, the former marshal of heaven who had once been cast down from the heavens by Sun Wukong himself. After wandering the world for many years, Zhu Beiji was no longer the powerful warrior he once was. Instead, he had become a humorous character who loved food more than anything else. Zhang Luer was immediately fascinated by him, but Sun Wukong was far less impressed. That was because Zhu Beiji preferred avoiding danger whenever possible and had little interest in getting involved in other people's problems. Even so, His strange behavior and comedic personality brought plenty of entertainment to the group, and so, the journey of a legendary Monkey King, a talkative young boy, and a food-loving pig warrior became even more interesting. As night approached, the group decided to rest in a small house near a village. For a brief moment, everything seemed peaceful, but the danger soon returned. The leader of the demons, Hun Dun, was still searching for the children he needed for his plan. This time, his target was Chang'er. Before anyone could react, Hun Dun's followers suddenly appeared and kidnapped the young girl. Jiang Luer desperately tried to save her, but he was far too weak to stand against the demons. Right before his eyes, Chang'er was taken away. While he could do nothing but watch helplessly, Jiang Luer desperately tried to save his friend, but he was no match for the demons. Right before his eyes, Chang'er was carried away. While he could do nothing but watch helplessly, after Chang'er was kidnapped, Jiang Luer immediately ran to Sun Wukong and begged for help. In the boy's eyes, the Monkey King was still the strongest hero in the world. However, there was one thing Jiang Luer didn't know: Sun Wukong had not only lost most of his powers, but he had also lost faith in himself. He no longer believed that he could change anything the way he once did. So when Jiang Luer begged him to rescue Chang'er, the Monkey King refused. No matter how much the boy pleaded, Sun Wukong continued to insist that he couldn't do it. For Jiang Luer, it was a heartbreaking disappointment. The legendary hero he had always admired was backing away when people needed him the most, but Jiang Luer refused to give up. If nobody else was willing to save Chang'er, then he would do it himself. With that decision made, the young boy set off alone toward the enemy's camp. The road ahead was filled with danger, but his determination never wavered. Along the way, Jiang Luer unexpectedly reunited with Fa Ming, the monk from whom he had been separated earlier. Fa Ming was overjoyed to see his grandson again, but his happiness quickly turned into concern after learning about the boy's dangerous plan. At last, the legendary Monkey King rose once again. He charged toward the enemy stronghold, defeating every demon that stood in his path with overwhelming force. Meanwhile, Hun Dun had already begun the final stage of his plan. But everything changed the moment Sun Wukong arrived. Filled with anger and determination, the Monkey King single-handedly fought his way through an entire army of demons. Hun Dun, however, was not willing to surrender so easily. He finally revealed his true form, transforming into a gigantic and terrifying monster. The enormous demon possessed enough power to destroy everything in its path and launched a brutal attack against Sun Wukong. But this time, the Monkey King had no intention of retreating. He fought with everything he had to protect his friends, the children, and the innocent people caught in the conflict. The legend that had been forgotten for centuries was finally beginning to awaken once again. As the battle continued, Hun Dun's monstrous power pushed even Sun Wukong to his limits. But at that critical moment, the Monkey King remembered Jiang Luer's courage, faith, and willingness to sacrifice himself for others. For the first time in years, Sun Wukong rediscovered who he truly was. He was not a broken warrior, he was not a defeated prisoner, he was the legendary Monkey King, the warrior who had once shaken the heavens themselves. As his determination and fighting spirit reached their peak, Sun Wukong's long-lost power finally began to awaken once more. Golden light suddenly burst from every part of Sun Wukong's body. At that moment, the true Monkey King, the legendary warrior once feared throughout the world, finally returned. Having regained his full power, Sun Wukong launched a relentless assault against Hun Dun. The battle shook the entire battlefield as the two powerful beings clashed with everything they had. But this time, the Monkey King was no longer fighting with doubt in his heart, he was fighting to protect the people who believed in him. With his legendary strength fully awakened, Sun Wukong eventually overwhelmed Hun Dun and delivered the final blow, defeating the monstrous demon once and for all. With Hun Dun's defeat, the imprisoned children were finally set free, and the nightmare that had haunted the land came to an end. As the battle finally settled, Sun Wukong was no longer the same warrior we met at the beginning of the story. The fear, doubt, and regret that had weighed him down for years had disappeared. Through Jiang Luer's unwavering faith, he had rediscovered the heroic spirit he thought he had lost forever. The boy never stopped believing in the Monkey King, even when the Monkey King had stopped believing in himself. And in the end, that belief changed everything. After years of being forgotten, the legend was finally reborn. The true Monkey King had returned, not just as a powerful warrior, but as a symbol of hope for everyone around him. This story is not simply about incredible powers or epic battles, it is a story about faith, courage, friendship, and finding the strength to believe in yourself again. And that is what makes the Monkey King, Hero is Back such a memorable and inspiring adventure. Legends may come to an end, but great stories never truly die. If you enjoyed this journey, hit that subscribe button and become part of our growing adventure, because the next legend is already waiting. Until the next story, take care.